Today I want to talk to you about something I'm really excited about. It is how to generate thousands of free trials for your SaaS business. Now, I've done this 3 times in the last few years. One at Voila Norbert, we generate over 20,000 signups per month. That number has drastically increased about 2 or 3x in the last 18 months or so. Right Inbox, over 10,000 new free trials a month. And at wheniwork.com, where I was a VP of marketing prior to doing what I'm doing now, we generated 15,000. Now, all of these numbers have dramatically increased 2, 3, 4x at the time working on these products. So let me tell you a few things I've learned and lessons learned and things you can repeat. So first and foremost, it's all about that customer experience. What happens as soon as they sign up? What are the first things they see? How do you help them solve their problem? I could tell you all the tips, tricks, tactics in the world, but if you don't have a good customer experience, nothing will stick, nothing will matter. Because a big part of this and generating, which is tip number 2, generating all these free trials is actually the word of mouth element that comes after somebody has a good experience. And so you can't get it beforehand. They have to find the product useful. And so that leads me to number 3, which is it's all about the product. What you do, how it helps them. So for example, at Right Inbox, we're a Gmail extension to help. It's an email productivity tool essentially. And ultimately, there's a few products. It's a freemium version, a freemium company. And so essentially, when you use the product, it's really, really straightforward to use. You can send later, add a note, what have you. But as soon as you start using one or two of these things, you kind of get hooked. It changes your behavior, and now you do this all the time. And frankly, if you love it after a couple times of doing it, you end up telling your friends, you end up sharing it. Now, we ask you to tweet it, share it after you've done a few triggers of product usage, but that's not actually what gets people to share it. What gets people to share it is they find the product actually useful. So I urge you to look at your product, your SaaS company, and think about what's the one thing people do? What's the one thing people absolutely love? You could potentially make that thing free or gate it where people can use it a couple times for free. The other thing you can do is you can make sure that that's the first thing people do, right? So instead of maybe burying that thing as a part of your functionality, maybe make that key feature the first thing people do to get them hooked. All right, the next thing is really to reduce the friction at sign up. This is the key to actually getting your funnel widened up. So you get traffic. I'm assuming everyone here has traffic. Getting people to sign up is the next big bottleneck here. So make your friction low. Maybe just ask for name, email, obviously a password. Do they need to confirm their password? No, maybe that's another box you can remove, right? Maybe you can ask for their company and other things later down the funnel. So what I've learned is you definitely want to try to get as much detail as you can for a sign up. But the key is to get as many signups as possible and as much detail from those signups as possible. So what I do is I have 2 or 3 forms: name, email, password, to sign up, and that's what gets you in the door. And then when you're inside of the product, the first thing I ask you, or maybe the second thing I ask you, is like, hey, what are you using this product for? Okay, cool. Tell us a little about yourself. What's your company name? What's your phone number? Here's your purchase, right? So things like that. Those are really key informations of me maybe helping my sales team qualify the leads or whatnot. But that's not something that should prevent somebody from signing up, because guess what? If I don't have the information, I still want you to use my product. And so having a frictionless process and sign up form is going to help you expand that funnel, where usually is the biggest shrinkage point. Next thing I want to talk about is the SEO element. Really, having a massive free trial generation is all about SEO. SEO can drive drastic amount of traffic. We all know this. So go focus on SEO and go start a year ago, because SEO takes forever. And from my experience, it takes anywhere between 12 to 18 months for a SaaS company that's been around for a few years to actually improve their SEO rankings and drive significant impact to the actual business. So it is a commitment, but it does work. I look back at the last 5 years of my career and the impact SEO has on my SaaS businesses, and frankly, it is the #1 channel for every single business. In the last 3 months, it has surpassed our word of mouth, which has been by far the biggest channel as far as new trials, and traffic and whatnot. But now, since we've been focusing on SEO for such a long time, since we've acquired these companies, it's past the word of mouth channel. So figure out what is your SEO play and just commit to doing it. It won't pay dividends today, but it will be compounding in results in a few years. A few more things to consider is the in-app onboarding and the education that you provide. And so you can mix those additional information you need from customers along with education. So maybe how to use your product, maybe not even just how to use your product, how to be effective at the problem they came to solve. So again, at Mailshake, you're sending emails. That's what you do using our email tool. But what you're here to do at our company is not to send emails. You're here to generate sales. You're here to close more deals. And so we can talk to you about how to write an email, or I can talk to you about how to write an email that can generate sales for you. So again, just taking it one step further into the education and onboarding and how to get success from using your product. Next thing is to do intent-based upgrades. So I know what you're thinking. It's like, oh, I have a frictionless process. I got a lot of people in the door, but how to actually generate sales? Well, it's about that onboarding to get more active users. And then when you get those active users, you can ask them to upgrade or prompt them to upgrade based off of certain criteria. So again, at Right Inbox, our Gmail extension, we prompt you to upgrade when you've hit 50% of your monthly free threshold. So I think you get 10 credits or so. So at 4 or 5, we ask you to upgrade. And at 4 or 5, if you use it in the first hour, we aggressively ask you to upgrade, because guess what? If you hit your quota for the month in the first hour, you're pretty much gonna be a badass customer. Badass in a good way. And the next thing is really think about your product feature expansion. And so what I mean by this is like, so you got some people through the door, they love your product. I told you about the things that if you have few key elements of what people love about your product, you can make them kind of push them earlier in the funnel, a flow of the customer's journey. But also think about other features, things you can expand, build out. You can build out free tools and things like that, even templates, an importer, things like that. Maybe an importer from your competitors, import from spreadsheets. At When I Work, one of our biggest lead generators or sign up generators was an importer from a CSV, where people were using that to kind of generate their schedules, to import it into our software, and a few things that we did to essentially automate that process. But the very act of just helping them upload that allowed people to sign up, and again, for us to capture that email and then drip them with more value to then eventually sign up as a customer. All right, well, that's my video here. If you have any questions, comments, or things you figured out that help generate mass amount of trials, leave them in the comments below.